Tonight, wild storm savage Melbourne. Streets flooded, property destroyed and a woman injured by a falling wall. 60,000 homes without power, freeways clogged and peak hour trains suspended.
This is 9 News with Peter Hitchener.
Good evening. Melbourne's mild start to winter is well and truly over, with an icy blast bringing heavy rain, strong winds and freezing temperatures. As Alexis Taish reports, the wild conditions cause widespread destruction across Victoria.
A bay more like ripping seas. Ferocious winds encroached on Melbourne with an unforgiving cold front and relentless rain. This was the aftermath. Today, Mother Nature proved herself a force not to be reckoned with.
We've had over 2,500 calls for assistance.
So strong was the weather system sweeping the city, the Yarra River swamped South Bank. And by lunchtime, it flooded popular bar Ponyfish Island, no longer an island at all.
Within like half an hour, it's completely just gone underwater.
Try and salvage what we can, see, just to sort of do a damage assessment, but at the moment we've got to wait till the water actually leaves the island.
These westerly winds are so strong, they've forced waters from the bay and up into the city. They've torn this bar's roof off, damaged stock and flooded the kitchen.
We had wind gusts to 110 to 115 kilometres per hour.
Bayside suburbs bore the brunt of wild westerlies, waves metres from homes and breaking into backyards. Out in the bay, this lone captain, headed for Brighton Yacht Club, was stranded. His barge lost its moorings. 2 tugboats tried to steer him out of harm's way, but they stood little chance at the mercy of a huge swell. But the winds roared right across Melbourne and they were destructive.
A lady stuck under a brick wall.
Another brick wall collapsed, this time in Williamstown Road, Yarraville, trapping an elderly woman.
A noise and screaming.
I just quickly tried to get the bricks off her as quick as I could. Get her out.
She was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Paramedics were called to 12 smashes across the state. The SES faced more than 2,600 call-outs for help. They dealt with 40% by the afternoon. From Camberwell to Frankston, motorists may have dodged the weather, but their cars weren't so lucky. For this man in his van, it was a narrow escape by seconds.
I was about to jump in the car and move it down, and just as the tree fell, and I just ran away up there.
The state's southwest coast copped the most damage in Portland and Warrnambool. The highest gusts were recorded at 128 kilometres an hour in Cape Otway. There were snowfalls at Mount Donabuang, a silver lining for families braving the cold. But back in the city by afternoon, a glimmer of sunshine peeked through the clouds. And in typical Melbourne style, Mother Nature produced 4 seasons in one day.
Alexis Taish is at South Bank and joins me live. Lexi, does it seem that the worst of the weather's passed now?
Good evening, Pete. It does, but the Bureau expects there will be another 2 cold fronts to come through Melbourne this week. The second one on the weekend will be the stronger one with some showers and possibly some hail. As for these winds, well, there will still be some gusts about when it rains, but nothing nearly as strong as what we saw today. There is still a severe weather warning in place tonight, though, for the entire state. Even though the conditions have somewhat eased, there may still be some wind about. So the message remains tonight, Pete, for everyone to stay indoors and keep warm. Back to you.
OK, thanks, Lexi. And the savage blast brought parts of Melbourne to a standstill with power cut across the suburbs. Train and tram lines and long-suffering commuters bore the brunt of the storms. Seb Costello reports.
Plunging out onto Queenbridge Street, this driver must deal with oncoming traffic as well as a steady current. Flash flooding creating a second waterway for the CBD, burying lane markings and kicking up spray as cars skimmed along.
We're asking motorists to take a lot of care. We're asking motorists to not be on the road if they can possibly avoid it.
But many couldn't and found themselves stuck in multiple jams around Melbourne, including the Tullamarine Freeway, where a blown-over power pole closed a ramp near the airport, and at Frankston, where traffic police stepped in when water flowed over parts of the Nepean Highway.
Look, it's been a terrible day so far.
Away from the major roads, this tree brought down a live power line just metres from a Frankston school. By chance, the dangerous wire was noticed by a passing police officer who organised the safe evacuation of the children.
The SES have been here. Obviously, they're being hammered, so we've got the street secured and essentially at this stage it's all safe.
But the fall did lead to power cuts in the area, locals joining thousands around the city without electricity, including this street in Hawthorn.
Nothing as of yet, so hopefully the laptop keeps charged and yeah.
To the west, 30,000 people lost power in Ballarat, Werribee and Sunshine, while another 25,000 suffered outages in Glen Waverley, Frankston and the majority on the Mornington Peninsula. On trains and trams, those in the know brought umbrellas, while tourists were given a wet introduction to Melbourne's weather.
One day Sunday shining, other day or other minute rained.
Throughout the day, many turned to social media, sharing their perspectives on the wild weather through photos and videos. And though there were delays across the southeastern rail lines,
all the transport operators have been working very hard throughout the day to make sure we keep moving people around.
And at least one popular worker tried to lift spirits by singing in the rain.
Every head had an ocean across the USA. Everyone's gone surfing USA.
Live now to Seb at Flinders Street Station. Seb, how's the transport system coping?
Well, Pete, it's okay here at Flinders Street, but further down the Belgrave line, we've got some problems. There's a tree down at Ferntree Gully, which means the trains are stopping at Bayswater with buses replacing the rest of the service. And then there's this, stuck at the level crossing at Carnegie, and the frightening moment when a V-line train comes steaming through and collects the rear of the car, knocking the bumper bar clean off the vehicle, the driver then moving out of shot. We understand that nobody was injured in the incident, but still, that near miss, a chilling reminder of exactly why we've got boom gates, Pete.
Thanks for that. Seb Costello reporting.